We are artists in our own way. Every time we do something, we apply the art skills that we acquired both from formal and informal experiences. Surviving each day is a manifestation of how artistically we live in our life. Good day everyone. Today we will discuss about the activity that is considered to have a major role in arts production. I am Maria Vanessa Lago, together with my group mates Nidsari Maolana, Hannah May Magalyosa, and Justanti Dominario. So come and join us, and together we will discover the life-changing art of soul making. For intended learning outcomes are the following. Define soul making. Making and deriving meaning from art. Improvisation. Appropriation. The significance of soul making. What is soul making? It is an alternative for knowing yourself and looking into the deep and the reality of what you are doing for our everyday life. According to Dr. Narciso, who is considered one of the highly extreme Filipino art experts, believed that soul making is a step towards achieving a deeper comprehension of the world by finding meaning of our day-to-day life. In our day-to-day journey, we experience highs and lows. Oftentimes, we tend to discard simple things and looking for something that challenges our capacity. Sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. And that's life. It is a form of creating stories or transforming short moments into image or symbols, or showing expressing yourself through image or symbol. Yes, it is true. Through soul making, we might see or know ourselves better because we can show our feelings or emotion, even though version of ourselves. One of the purpose of soul making is to awaken the artistic side of you. It is an act on uniting your primal self and skills development that provides a path to discover techniques in art production. As what I have said, we can express our feelings, our emotion, and the true version of ourselves because not all people is capable in showing themselves in many people. According to the Greek philosopher Heraclitus, soul making cannot be defined. He said that you could not discover the limits of soul even if you traveled by every path in order to do so. Such is depth of its meaning.
So since we heard about the general definition of soul making, let us now slide into soul making, making and deriving meaning from art. So kung sa una pinag-usapan natin yung tungkol sa kabuuang kahulugan ng soul making, dito naman papasok tayo tungkol sa meaning. Because definition and meaning is, I believe, meron itong pagkakaiba. So the meaning, deriving meaning, that is from art. Okay, so unang-una, sinasabi dito, basahin ko, in order for the human to make sense of language and derive meanings from words, semantic and grammatical rules are important elements to be considered. So kung susuriin natin mabuti, yung binasa ko has something to do with speaking and writing. Since it has to make sense about the language, meaning from words, semantic, and grammatical rules. So, what kind of art is this? So, let's think about something. Sabihin na natin poetry or spoken word poetry. Sa tingin mo ba magiging maganda ang output natin in making poetry if we can't make sense with those things yung mga sinabi natin? Diba? Hindi. So, therefore, kaya ito nasabing important elements to be considered kasi nga yun yung magbibigay enlightenment or that will make our output into its high level, di ba? So that others who will see or read or hear the poetry or spoken word poetry can rate it into a high level. Yung mga hinahanap ay andun. So next, in order to people to make sense of the work, it requires understanding the visual elements where art was grounded on, especially the principle of design. So, we heard about the visual, which means yung nakikita natin. visual elements. So therefore, the design has something to do with it. Kailangan nandun yung design. So ulitin ko people, in order to people to make sense of a work, kailangan we as a people is fully aware of those things, yung visual elements, so as the design. Next, it's important to note the audience of the said artwork must have certain level of awareness to the style, artwork, form, and content of the said work. So, ganon. Ibig sabihin, if you are an audience, important to note ito if you are an audience, you must be also aware of the style, artwork, form, content of the said work. So, kung iisipin natin, ang hinahanap ng audience is still an artist or an expert, or let us say, alam ng alam yung tungkol sa art. Okay. So, ganun yun. So, we must remember that thing. Okay. Next is the form. Is the totality of the artwork, which includes the textures, colors, and shape utilized by the artist. So I believe a lot of us know this one. An artwork includes form, di ba? And an artist must utilize those three na sinabi. Yun yung color, texture, and shapes. So at last, sinasabi naman dito, the content of an artwork includes not only form, but also its subject matter and underlying meaning or themes. So, form. Natapos na natin yung form, but it does not end with that. If you have form, then you have a perfect design kapag na-perfect mo yun lahat. But then, art will be not that relevant if it don't have subject matter and underlying meanings so as the themes. Diba? Hindi magiging relevant ang art. Hindi magiging relevant ang art pag wala yun. Since the message is coming from those things, yung mga sinabi doon. Yun yung subject matter, yung pinatutungkulan ng isang art. Okay, diba? So, we must also remember all of these deriving meanings from arts. That is, ang soul making of arts ay ito, yung mga sinabi natin. So we must think of that. So let us proceed to the next topic.
Appropriation. Appropriation is the practice of using pre-existing objects and images in an artwork without really altering the originals. This notion paved the way for the emergence of appropriation artists who seem to promote the idea that authorship relies on the viewers. Traditionally, forgery can be classified into two forms. First is the outright copies of existing works and the pastiches, which are works that bring together elements from a work and infusing them to a new work. The intention of appropriation artists are often questioned, since issues of plagiarism or forgery sometimes arise, because some would argue that the reason behind this is that they want the audience to recognize the images that they copied. Okay, so based on my understanding po, the word appropriation is refers to the pre-existing works, meaning borrowing po or panghihiram, copying which is pangongopya, and altering or pagbabago ng mga bagay or mga litrato, images. And na-mention ko din po earlier na ang intention ng mga appropriation artists is about to their viewers dahil gusto nilang ma-identify or makilala ang mga images or litrato na kanilang gi-copy or kinopya. For example po is this one. This one is the African mask with self-portrait by Picasso during 1907. Kung napapansin nyo po yung art na to sa right side, yan po yung original art. While yung nasa left side naman po is yan po yung gi-copy, gi-change, or gi-alternate ng isang appropriation artist. Another example po is this one. This art is from Loving Vincent film. The artist in 2017 tried to copy the original work of Vincent van Gogh.
Let's proceed with improvisation. Improvisation, it is an act doing something without prior preparation. There is a decision to act upon something that may not necessarily be planned. It means this is an act wherein we don't have a plan, or we are doing something that is unplanned or unimpromptu. Some would say that it is a reaction against the stiffness in the arts during the 20th century because it blurs the line of reality and that origin of imagination. In doing an artwork, there were times that we can't avoid making it dull or lifeless. It is maybe because we were lacking of inspiration, or maybe we don't have this clear or specific or precise origin of imagination. Infusing spontaneity and improvisation adds up to the totality of the work of art. We are infused by its spontaneous or naturalness, that as if it has something that attracts the person who could see an art, wherein people or the audience can take off their eyes out of the art. Improvisation allows the artist to explore and think about how the audience can actually be a part of the work in itself. That even an art looks so simple, it still could be very attractive for the audience. So in short, improvisation, you are doing something, you are adding something in the artwork or in an art piece, whether it is drawing, painting, or a song, wherein you could add some life to make it more lively and lovable for its audience.
Significance of soul making. Soul making is an activity of knowing yourself. As a saying goes, you cannot give what you don't have. The same is true with not being able to understand who you are. Understanding life, depth, and essence after knowing yourself and accepting who you are will begin to understand the meaning and essence of your existence. Evaluating what yourself does for you to know the value of your life, you need to know the purpose of what you are doing every day. Learning from everyday experience, because experience helps us become wise and strong that if we allow ourselves to learn from them.